All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kyle Nixon, and I am the Director of Recruitment and Orientation here at the University of Memphis. Thank you all for joining us for our Tiger to Tiger alumni series. Tonight, we've got some fabulous alums who are currently working in the arts and education industries all around the country. And so we hope that you'll be able to learn a little bit more about their experience and some of the wonderful things that they're doing in the field. To give you an overview of what we'll be talking about this evening, we'll have introductions of our current U of M staff members, as well as the alumni who have joined us, and they'll talk a little bit about their experience up to this point, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers from each of you. As you may see, this is a webinar format, and so while you're not able to see everybody who's here, you can see the panelists who are participating in this event. And you'll also have a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen where you're able to ask us questions that you have of the alums. No question is off the table. If you want to know about their academic experience, their student life experience, their work history, they're open to answering all of those questions for you. And then, of course, our contact information is at the bottom there. So if you have any questions of our staff after this event, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll be glad to help you along the way. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Paige Rooney, who's our Assistant Director for Recruitment here in the Office of Admissions and Orientation, to learn a little bit more about each of you.
Thank you, Kyle, and hello, everyone. Like he said, welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Paige, and I get the pleasure of working with a lot of our recruitment efforts. And so our admissions counselors, who you may be getting emails from or phone calls or seeing them in your schools if you are physically in your schools. And we are just doing our best to really get to know you all throughout this weird year and this crazy environment that you all find yourselves in trying to find a college, right? So we hope that tonight gives you an opportunity to hopefully meet some other incoming students, even if virtually. We would love if you would engage with us, and we hope that you can learn a little bit from these alumni who were in your shoes, varying levels of how long ago, and who chose the University of Memphis and why they chose it and what they've gained from that, and maybe even some networking to help you in your future career. So as y'all are coming in and joining us, please drop your name and your hometown in the chat. Maybe we'll have some people from some areas that are alumni, current students, or that you'll be able to connect with each other. And also, if you, as you're typing in the chat, if you can let us know what you want to major in or what you want to do after college. If you know either of those things, please drop them in the chat and let us know. So again, the chat will be active throughout the time that we're here together. Feel free to ask us questions there or utilizing the Q&A feature. We have, before we move in and do introductions for all of the panelists here tonight, we had one person who really wanted to join us, who is one of our University of Memphis alums, but was not able to be here tonight due to actually another meeting for Shelby County Schools. And so if any of you are from the Shelby County School District or attending schools in that area, Dr. Joris Ray, your superintendent, had a quick message for us.
Hello, University of Memphis alumni. I'm Dr. Joris Ray. For more than 23 years, I've served Shelby County Schools.
Sorry, y'all.
Beginning my journey as a student, teacher, principal, assistant superintendent, chief, and now superintendent of our great school district. I'm a product of this community, and I earned a bachelor's and a doctorate in educational leadership and policy studies from the University of Memphis. Being superintendent of the 23rd largest public school district in the nation and the largest school district in Tennessee has its challenges, but even greater rewards. In these uncertain times, there are no perfect answers. But as a leader in education, I have vowed to be courageous and keep the best interests of teachers and students at the forefront of every decision. The University of Memphis helped prepare me for such a time as this. Each lesson learned in leadership has strengthened my resolve and resilience. For these reasons and more, I'm honored to be a part of the University of Memphis family. As I say in my weekly video address to students and families each week, we are stronger together. Coronavirus will not defeat us because we are 901.
So I apologize for that little glitch there, but hopefully y'all enjoyed that and consider that a welcome as well. He wished he could join us tonight, but we have some really amazing panelists who I want to give an opportunity to introduce themselves. And as they're telling you who they are, would love for them to share just a little bit about how they got there. And then we will ask some questions. And so as they're introducing themselves, if you think of a question, either for one of them specifically, for all of them, we also have a current student. So whoever you want to shout your question out to, feel free to address it to the whole panel or say, hey, I want a specific person to answer this. But we'll go down the line and y'all just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got there. So Ashley, if you want to take it from here.
Yeah, hi guys, and welcome future Tigers. You're already making wise decisions from even just thinking about the University of Memphis. And I love that Dr. Ray called it the University of Memphis because that's what I call it too. I'm Ashley Schultz. I'm a career and technical teacher in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm from Middle Tennessee and I went to the University of Memphis in 2006 and graduated in 2010. Then I took a year off and got my master's in education. And then I was an 8th grade English teacher for 4 years. And then I left teaching for 4 years and worked in the ed tech space and worked in a presidential campaign. And then now I'm back to teaching. And I work with, coincidentally, students, high school students who want to be teachers. So I am the Teaching as a Profession teacher, which is a career and technical course at Centennial High School. So go Tigers, go.
Thank you. Dante.
Good evening, everyone. I also say the University of Memphis is just more appropriate. I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I did not originally attend University of Memphis. I did a year and a half at University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I transferred to the University of Memphis my sophomore year, graduated with my bachelor's in 2014. I taught high school in Memphis, Tennessee, Southwind High School for 4.5 years. I'm a music educator, by the way. My bachelor's was in music education. So taught choir. While I was teaching choir, I went back to the University of Memphis to obtain my master's in music ed. Graduated with that in 2018. Left teaching high school after 4.5 years to teach at Coahoma Community College in Clarksdale, Mississippi, where I was the assistant director of choral activities. Stayed there for a year. It was very interesting, and it was either coming back to Memphis to teach high school or pursuing my PhD. So I decided to apply at Florida State University, where I'm a first-year doctoral student pursuing a degree in choral conducting. So that's my experiences. Go Tigers, go. Okay, somebody from Clarksdale. All right now.
Thank you. Gabby.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabby Willingham, and I am looking on the list, the most recent graduate of the University of Memphis. I got to experience the virtual graduation of this past May, which was a good time with all my crew here, just watching it. And when we saw my name after a long wait, we all screamed and then we ate chicken wings. So it was a good day. So I'm happy to be here. But I also, similar to Dante, was a transfer student. So I spent some time at UT Chat, and then I came my sophomore year to the University of Memphis, and I majored in education, where I got my bachelor's in education, aka teaching all learners, which means that I am currently licensed for K-5 and K-12 special education. And so with that, I was given the opportunity to actually get to do some of my residency, which is what we call student teaching here at the university. And so I got to do it at, the university has an elementary school called Campus School. And so I got to do my year with Campus School. And oddly enough, they graced me with the opportunity to officially work there. So I am a first-year teacher, teaching kindergartners. So me and the 5 and 6-year-olds, we're having a good old time learning how to mute and unmute ourselves. And so I'm just happy to be here and happy that y'all are here as well.
Thank you, Gabby. Let's hope that we can all do a little better than the 5 and 6-year-olds, but let us know if you need to get anybody in check. Maddie?
Will do.
Hey everyone, my name is Maddie Bailey. I graduated from the U of M in 2018. After I graduated, well, I majored in English. I went in undecided, picked English, and then they had concentrations you can choose from. And I ultimately went with teaching English as an additional language. Before I got to college, I did not know what that was. I had a great professor who teaches a Harry Potter honors class, highly recommend it, who taught ESL, told me all about it, recommended it for me. So I graduated with my degree in English with a focus in ESL. When I left the U of M, I got my master's in urban education. I like to say that I have now kind of seen it all. I started off at a high school, my student teacher year, taught 9th and 12th graders. Then I went down to the middle school my next year. And now I am in an elementary school teaching 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So I have not seen Gabby's 5 to 6-year-olds. I mean, I've poked my head into a few rooms, but I've not had to stay there all day with them. So yeah, now I teach at Cornerstone Prep Leicester, which is a school here in Memphis, not too far from the U of M campus in the Binghamton community. And I love it. I think 3, 4, or 5 is my calling.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddie. Michelle?
Hi, I'm Michelle Miller, and I attended the University of Memphis for my undergraduate degree in elementary education. I was a part of the Emerging Leaders Scholarship Program and Greek Life while on campus at the University of Memphis. And so I taught 3rd grade for about 10 years, and then I went back to school at the U of M for an EDS and school counseling. So I was a high school counselor at one of the local high schools here, Houston High School in Germantown. And then I went back to elementary school as a reading specialist. And this is my first year in administration as assistant principal at Bailey Station Elementary. And so I loved my time at U of M, both as an undergraduate student and as a graduate student. And I feel like it, very much prepared me for my profession and life in general. And so I'm in a new role now in administration, but I still feel like, my days at the University of Memphis and the contacts that I've made have helped me even in this new role and in this new venture. So thank you for having me. And I'm happy to share anything I can with new prospective Tigers.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And that was a great plug for the Emerging Leaders Program. We'll talk a little bit more if y'all have questions about general things like scholarship programs or general U of M details. We've got some staff members and a current student here. So if it's not somebody's expertise, we can at least point you in the right direction. So like I said in the chat, feel free to drop things. And last but not least, we have our current student, Sage.
Hey everyone, my name is Sage Harris. I'm a current sophomore, so I'll be graduating in 2023. And I'm double majoring in political science and communication. So with the communication side, that makes me a student within the College of Communication and Fine Arts. But yeah, what I want to do with those degrees when I get them, I don't know yet. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So thank y'all again for all being here tonight. And thank you to all of you students who are joining us. Families, if you have any parents here as well, we know that y'all are an important part of this experience. If they're not on with you and they're in the other room, feel free to grab them and have them watch with you. They may have some good questions. If you're not quite ready to ask, maybe they'd be willing. So at this point, before we get into any specific questions, I want to hear just from whichever ones of our panelists feel compelled to answer, but would love to hear 1 or 2 key experiences that you had at the University of Memphis or that you are currently having that really helped prepare you for the real world, whether it's your current position or just life in general after college. So if anybody wants to unmute, I'll call on you first.
Well, Paige, I'll be glad to answer that. I think two things that I've already touched on that really prepared me not only professionally but just for a successful transition to adulthood was not only the Emerging Leaders Program and the training and the experience that I gained in that program, but also my involvement in Greek life. And I really encourage any prospective new members. The U of M is a big place, and a lot of students, I know it's changed a little bit over the 20 plus years since I started, but a lot of students come to campus, take classes, and they go home, and they're not plugged in as they could be on campus and all the different campus organizations. And through Greek life, you meet so many people, and you're just encouraged to branch out and not only be involved in your prospective organization, but also all the other campus organizations. So just the networking, and I still have personal and professional relationships that I, have had since my first week on campus. And I think those relationships mean more to you and actually grow richer over time. And I would venture to say that the life lessons that I learned through my involvement on campus really prepared me for life, actually, honestly, more than my academic studies, because research changes, your profession, you learn a lot on the job. There's just so much. The classroom teaches you basically how to be a lifelong learner, and that's very important. But really, those soft skills, such as interviewing skills and what to wear to a job interview, how to write a resume, how to interview for a position. I'm still kind of scarred today because I interviewed twice to be a Frosh Camp counselor, and I was never chosen. It's okay. I've dealt with it, but I'm 40 years old, so it doesn't hurt as much as it used to. But no, but they only accept a certain number of students, and so but I was involved in a ton of other things and had great experiences. But just those kind of life lessons and how to just work alongside people that maybe come from different backgrounds than you do, have different worldviews, different cultures, just a lot of differences. And I think that is very beneficial. And I would encourage anybody, even if you don't feel like Greek life is for you, I would encourage you to give it a chance. And B, if you, still feel like it's not for you, there are plenty of other campus groups and campus organizations that would welcome you with open arms. And you don't have to be a part of the official Emerging Leaders Program to be a campus leader. There used to be a organization on campus called SAC, Student Activities Council. I don't know if that still exists.
They're still around.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, they would post, back in the day, we didn't have social media. And so they would post around campus just flyers of different things going on and different clubs you could be a part of. And there was a registered student organization fair called an RSO fair once or twice a year. And you could go around to different tables and booths. And I'm sure there's something still like that. So, no matter what avenue you take, it doesn't have to be my path. It could be your own path, but I just encourage you to get involved and give back to the university and get to know people. And I promise you that will enrich your college experience and continue to enrich your life long after college. My very best friends to this day are my, college friends, and even professionally, I feel like I networked with so many people that were eventually my employers or my mentors. And so I just encourage you to get plugged in and get the most out of your college experience.
Absolutely. Very good advice. And there is definitely still a registered student organization fair, typically on the first day of class. We even had it when classes were fully virtual due to COVID. It just moved online. And so the biggest piece is finding a way to get you plugged in as soon as you step foot onto the campus. And so I think that's great advice. And if anybody else wants to add any other particular experiences they had, we would love to find some ways to get y'all plugged in when you get here. Yeah, Dante. Oh, sorry. I saw Dante and then Ashley.
So two experiences that really helped me in the real world. One, was my process, the process of going through becoming a resident advisor. So I was a RA at Richardson Towers that is no longer a part. It's gone. It's been demolished. It's now Centennial Place, I believe. Yeah. So just being the RA and taking the RA class, because there is a class that you have to take, learning how to be a leader, how to problem solve, how to work with people that don't look like you or may not have the same belief, religions, and just, work programming, because that's a requirement as a RA. So going through those experiences really helped me, because I'm as an educator, I have, it's the exact same experiences. So that was one. And two, I would just say the rigor of the music program at the University of Memphis. I will say proudly that majoring in music is probably the hardest major, only because, you have your ensembles that you have to sing and rehearse in, you have the piano classes, your lessons, you have all the other work in your core academic classes that you have to take, and just trying to balance all of that and be proficient in everything can be very stressful. But when I graduated, become the teacher, it's the same thing. You teach, you have to grade papers, you have parent-teacher conferences, you have documentation and all these other things, field trip forms and all of that. So those experiences really helped me in the real world, because I was able to transfer all of that knowledge into my current profession. And I don't think that I would have made it here where I am if it wasn't for that, especially for Dr. Ryan Fisher. If there are anyone here that's interested in music, Dr. Ryan Fisher saved me because I was on the edge of leaving the music program, and he kind of picked me up and motivated me, and now I'm here pursuing a PhD, which I never would have thought I would be able to do. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
That's awesome. I love the example of the specific professor who reached out and grabbed you and helped you out. And I think that that's something that students will find at the University of Memphis, is that there are a lot of people who care, and college in general can be difficult to navigate, and how to figure out where to go for what. When something goes wrong, who do I contact? Well, if you don't know the right person, everyone here is genuinely willing to help. And I'm sure we could all have an example of a good or a bad situation where there was someone on campus who was there for us. And so I love that. And I love that it was a specific professor that you remember to this day. And you're like, I will thank that person every chance I get. Give me a platform and I will remind people who that is. And so I hope that all of y'all find that. So Ashley, you had something to share with us about your experiences.
Yeah, similar to both Michelle and Dante, I too will give a plug for Greek life. I was an orientation guide. I participated in Frosh Camp and Up Till Dawn. And in talking about real world experience and what it means to work, like Dante said, with people that are from different places, believe different things, gender, sexualities, all of those things. I'm from a small town. I'm from the suburbs. The only people that were different were people whose parents were divorced. So going to the University of Memphis and participating in these organizations and meeting people who were different than I was made me the person I am today. Those 4 years in Memphis, I credit with more than just all of the brain knowledge they put up top, but the heart and the social justice and the desire to make this world a better place. Mine came from my 4 years at the University of Memphis and meeting people that were different than I was. So that's a huge plug for getting involved, but also what Paige just said, I'm from a small town, so I was an orientation guide. And so the women who ran the orientation program before Paige and Kyle became second moms to me on campus. So when something went wrong or when I just really needed an attitude check, I could go in there. So another plus for getting plugged in on campus is you have faculty advisors, you have adults who can kind of help you, talk you off a ledge, but also can, like Michelle was saying, will help you network and will introduce you to the people that will get you to your next job. So not only do you find people on campus your age, but that faculty advisor piece is huge. And then the second program I did that I think about a lot and helped me a lot to really solidify my decision to be a teacher was I did the Memphis Literacy Corps, which now is statewide. Governor Haslam and Chrissy Haslam piloted it last summer. They're doing it again this summer. And it's where college students work with elementary students, specifically on literacy skills. If students can't read by 3rd grade, there's a higher likelihood that they will not graduate high school. So I taught at Berkeley Elementary School. I taught 4 students, and it was just incredible. And in terms of like teaching skills, but also life skills and like working with younger students, it really defined and put me on my path to becoming a teacher. So I know Memphis offers all kinds of internships, all kinds of placements. So I would also say, try them all out and you'll find the one where you're like, yep, that's what I want to do. And it helps you figure out what you want to do without going and spending a lot of money on a graduate degree that maybe you don't want to use. So I would also give a plug for internships too.
Yes, all the good things being plugged here. And we didn't even give them a script, y'all. This is just off the cuff. So thank y'all so much. We've definitely got some other good questions, and we're getting a few questions in the chat and in the Q&A. I want to make sure that those of you students who are joining us, that you're also monitoring the chat, because we have some really great staff members who are dropping their contact info. We will also share a little bit of contact info towards the end of the event. But there are some other people on campus who we really want to give you a chance to connect with. So this particular event, we wanted to have the alums share all of their knowledge and all of their wonderful experiences, but we have some really great people who work in the various academic departments on campus. And so maybe if we don't get to your question today, or if we don't have an expert in computer science or IT, some of those programs that can get really specific, then we can definitely get you in touch with someone. So feel free to continue using the chat. I just want to make sure y'all are aware and that you see that happening. So one question, we do want to address the one at some point where we talk a little bit about orientation. And so we'll get to that in just a second, but I feel like we're riding a good wave of our experiences at the University of Memphis. So I don't want to veer off to just yet, but we will talk about orientation. We will talk about campus tours in just a little bit. What I want to know is if any of you had a favorite class at the University of Memphis, and what was it? And if you want to plug that professor, those of you who are thinking and looking towards orientation, if they're still here, or if it's a class that maybe is required for your major, maybe you'll have just as great of an experience. I do want to share a caveat that as far as professors go, one person could have an amazing experience and it be the best fit, and one person could not really work that well with that person. So don't think just because Maddie loved them and then you get in and you're like, this is the hardest class I've ever had. Don't hold it against us if it happens. So we no liability here, but I want to hear maybe from Sage. I saw her nodding, and then maybe from some people who haven't gotten a chance to talk yet, and then we'll all jump in. So Sage, what's your favorite class and who taught it?
Okay, so my favorite class would probably be like throwing back all the way to fall of my freshman year. I remember going to orientation. I was like, I don't know what's happening. Just let me sign up for some classes. And that's when I picked political science, and then later on added communication. But the class was a Bob Dylan Honors Forum, and the teacher was Antonio de Velasco, and he is amazing. He made me, and I know every student in that class, it was a smaller class because it was an honors forum, so about 12 students, feel seen and heard. And that was probably one of like the first classes at Memphis where I was like, wow, like this is like really where I'm supposed to be. Like I actually am enjoying doing these assignments, talking about Bob Dylan, and then also just getting to know what Memphis is all about. And he's one of the reasons why I added on the major of communication. So he was definitely like a turning point, and now I have him again for a rhetoric and civic controversy class. So that was definitely one of my favorite classes and one of my favorite professors.
Thank you. Awesome. Gabby, I can see you unmuting.
Yeah. So I would say I have 2 professors, and it's going to be funny for Paige because outside of my academic area, I was also an orientation guide. So she was a great professor. You know, I recommend her when she taught us just like really how like she helped me find friends when I transferred here, and like she gave me a job, and I got to learn about campus as the new kid on the block. And so that was a great experience outside of my major. But within my major, oddly enough, I got to experience an ESL class, which also means English in the second language. That was a part of our major, and it was taught by Dr. Tammy Jones. And so I don't know if Maddie might can chime in on her just being an excellent professor. She wasn't fully a part of the education major. We have wonderful professors in the major, but she just kind of made wanting to teach English super interesting. And we even got to watch an episode of Avatar, the Next Airbender, because that was her passion in life. And I was like, that's my passion too. And so it was great to kind of understand that, hey, this is how you need to teach students that don't automatically understand the language that you have known your whole life. And I think that really impacted how I taught when I student taught, and also it impacts how I teach my students today, because I recognize that, hey, we all might speak the same language, but we don't learn the same. So I need to change my strategies. I need to make sure that they are keeping their attention while still having a good time for the time that we're on the screens. So I just believe that her being able to engage us in the classroom has really helped me be able to engage my students in our virtual classroom each and every day.
Maddie, I was seeing some hard agreement. Did you want to add anything?
Well, I feel like my answer has been taken, but I mean, I can vouch. Professor Jones, I took every class that she taught. I know that Avatar lesson, and it's a really great lesson, and not just because Avatar is great. But the other half of Professor Jones is Professor Dice. And this sage also mentioned an honors forum class. Please fact check me if things have changed, but it's a class if you're in the honors program for incoming freshmen usually. I don't know if that's usually when it's taken, and you meet once a week. So it's not something that's supposed to be super demanding that overwhelms you as a freshman. But it really, there's people I still talk to. Professor Dice and Professor Jones both teach that class. It was all about Harry Potter. I was coming from a small town. I was undecided, had no idea what I wanted to do. And I was not interested in Greek life, and I really didn't know how to get involved in campus. And I found my community. I found my group. That's what I cared about, was Harry Potter, and I found my people through that class, which was really awesome. I didn't expect to find that through an academic class at the U of M. And really just, I took every class that both of those professors offered. I called them when I got engaged. Professor Dice messaged me and asked me to write her a letter of recommendation for payback from all the times I've asked her to write me one. So just really great. So if you are coming in and you do the honors program, that honors form is great.
Yeah, and you got to go on a trip, correct? That's not necessarily every time, but you got to do a study abroad trip along with it, correct?
I did. I love a good bookend. So I started with the Harry Potter Honors Forum. I ended my last semester senior year. They do a trip, I believe, every other year. So you have 2 chances in your 4 years if you do the traditional 4 years. They go to London and Edinburgh. It's just completely Harry Potter themed study abroad trip. They were amazing. Help me. They pretty much handheld me all the way onto the plane to make sure I went. But you also take a class with that, and I took 2 Harry Potter classes before I graduated. Yeah, they're amazing.
Who'd have thought that it was going to be a Harry Potter class? And just a little bit more about the honors college that Maddie mentioned. And so for honors college, the typical, if you are eligible for one of our academic scholarships, so that's a 3.25 GPA and a 24 ACT, those are going to be the automatic admissions. You do have to submit an application on their website, but those are going to be the students who would, you could definitely, and then if you're somewhere, if you have that GPA, maybe not that ACT, we encourage you to apply. Or if you didn't get a chance to submit an ACT this year, we are still encouraging that if you have a chance to take it. But other ways to join honors would be if you get a 3.25 GPA your first semester. So if you are really interested in it, there's plenty of time if you do really well in that first semester. Some of the perks, like they have been mentioned, you have a smaller class size, you get an opportunity to take some of those really cool first year kind of seminar courses. I don't know if anybody else is in honors, but the honors, why is the name? Honors Forum classes, they typically have a really unique topic. And so I've heard ones that are things like, why is soccer not as popular in the US as Europe? I'm sure it was worded a little more eloquently, but you can take a class on something really unique, and you meet once a week, and it's some of our top professors that are really passionate about various subjects. And so something really cool if you're interested in the honors college, but another shameless plug. Did anybody else want to talk about a class they took? Dante?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So a class that I fondly remember was African American literature. I arrived on the very first day, and the teacher was intentionally late. So I am sitting in the back room at the back of the class, like, okay, the 15-minute rule, because, I'm about to go. And in walks this tall white man, and he says verbatim, "Yes, I am white, and I am the teacher of this course. And I am going to be the best teacher of this course, and you will find out why if you stay in my class." And so I said, "Oh, okay, well, let's see what you know." Because the African American history and literature is something that I really enjoy outside of music. And I cannot tell you how many great discussions we had in that class, and how for someone who thought they knew everything at that age, how he was able to teach me a lot. And I enjoyed that class very, 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 very much. And the second class would be my student teaching class with Dr. Ryan Fisher. So a small story, there was a professor that's no longer at the University of Memphis that told me that if he had kids, he would not want me in their music program because I had deficiencies. And instead of giving me tools for success, he decided to just, make me feel bad is any chance he got. And that semester of student teaching, I remember Dr. Fisher coming to observe me, and I was a nervous wreck. I can't teach. I'm just ready to get this over with so I can get my degree and do something else. And when he saw me teach, he said, "Dante, I have never seen a person teach this lesson the way that you taught it. And I'm so sorry for what you went through, but you can do this. And these are the things you need to work on. These are what you're doing well." And it was that semester that I was rebirth. I rose from the ashes, and I'll never forget that class because of it's a field experience, but I still got a grade for it. But it got me where I am today. So those were two of my favorite classes.
Awesome. Thank you. So as a little bit of a segue, or maybe a little break from some conversations about these experiences that I'm loving, we did get a few questions that I want to make sure we address about campus tours and orientation, and then maybe we'll circle back for the financial aid. And so I'll go ahead and take this one as the admissions staff member, unless any of my alumni feel that they have anything to add. But for the first question about campus tours, so we are currently offering campus tours. We're going to show you a link in just a little bit of where you can sign up, but we offer campus tours on Mondays through Fridays at 9:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. We are following a lot of social distancing procedures. Masks are required, and the numbers are limited. So if you want to come on a tour, make sure that you plan it in advance. Don't sign up the day before because space is probably full. So if you are planning to do that, we would love to have you. We would love to show you campus in a safe way and do it in small numbers, but we are welcoming guests to campus. For new student orientation, the information will be emailed out in early March. And so make sure that you have activated your Memphis account and that you are checking your Memphis email address. So those are the main two things. If I said that you have activated your Memphis account and you don't know what that means, now is the time to go look at your acceptance letter and follow the instructions on page 2. So make sure that y'all do that. And then we'll share information about how to sign up for new student orientation. We are planning for an in-person experience with some, safety measures in place and lots of things going into that. And so we will give you the full details when we have the full details, but know that we are planning for something in person over the summer with a variety of options. So stay tuned in early March for orientation details. And let's see. I think we'll touch financial aid letters are going out now. If you have not received one, the question is just how do you send the financial aid? How do you know about your financial aid package? So that is something that you have to make sure that everything is completed. First, you have to submit your FAFSA. Then you have to make sure we get your FAFSA. Then you have to make sure that there's no other required documents for you to send, because there's this fun thing called verification. And about 30% of people are selected. I happen to be in the 30% every year of my college career. So good luck to you. May your experience be better than me. But if you were selected for verification, that just means you have to share some additional documents to back up what you have said on your FAFSA. So what all of you need to do to make sure that you get your financial aid award is to log into that My Memphis account, click on the student pages, and then it's either my finances, whatever is similar to my finances, in case the wording is not exact. You're going to go there and you want green check marks. If everything is satisfied, you have green check marks, that is good. Give us a few days and we will process your financial aid, and we send out letters on a regular basis. You should be able to view it in your My Memphis account. We will share some information again for how to contact that office. If you search financial aid on our website, they've got a phone number, they've got a ticket system where you can put in a help ticket, they've got an email address. They really want you to reach out. And the biggest advice, before I go back in and we get some other advice, is to do that now, because the longer you wait, the more the current students will be trying to get it done. And so if any alumni here were guilty of standing in the financial aid line the first week before school, raise your hand. Dante was, Ashley, okay. They're remembering the days. And so we will help you, but know that there are a lot of students who are needing to get this stuff done too. So don't wait until the last minute, because everyone else will. So you heard it here, and it will be much better for you if you get all those things taken care of. So check your Memphis account and see what it is that you need to submit. All right, so I'm getting a couple more financial aid questions. We'll type some of the answers to y'all so that we can hear a little bit more from these alums. And again, this is great. We want to help y'all with whatever it is that you need. And so we'll be typing some answers, and we may address a little bit more in the next slide. But we want to be mindful of time, and we know that y'all probably aren't going to sit here and watch us talk for more than an hour. And so I think one question that I want to make sure that we hear from everyone, if we have the time, is what is a piece of advice that you would share for people who are interested in your field? So I know in looking at some of these questions, some of y'all are interested in different fields, some of you students than maybe the people that we have here, but I'm sure this advice is something that can be relevant for whatever job you are ultimately wanting to get to. So I'll let y'all, go in whatever order you like, but what is a piece of advice that you would like to give for someone going into the field? So Dante, you can take it first.
Resiliency is the advice I would like to give. College is tough. It's going to require a lot of you, but being just remembering that there's no comfort in growth. So as you are growing, it's not going to feel good. I can tell you that it took me 7 times to pass my praxis to graduate. It took me 6.5 years to get my bachelor's degree. But although I had all of those setbacks, I still ended up where I was supposed to be. I didn't stay down. I cried a lot, I talked to whoever I could about it, but I kept going. And so whatever field you in, I believe this can transfer to whatever field you're interested in, but just know that you just always be resilient. Know that if you are uncomfortable, that's a good thing, because that means you're learning and that you're growing, and that you're going to rise above any obstacle that's put in your way. Everyone on this call has been through something that has been challenging, but yet we prevailed and we got what we needed to get, and we are where we are because of that. So that is my advice to you.
I'll say, so when I loved the University of Memphis so much that I made my senior year, I made zero plans of what I was going to do when I graduated. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I am really interested in speech. And I had an aunt who was a speech language pathologist. So I was like, I'll just apply to speech language pathology school. Well, the University of Memphis's speech language pathology school is nationally ranked. So they said to me, you don't have any of the prerequisites. Like, no, you can't come here. So then I took a year off, and then I went and got my master's, and then I was a teacher, and then I didn't want to be a teacher anymore. And then I went and did some marketing, and I worked for nonprofit, and then I worked for presidential campaign. And then I thought, you know what? When's the happiest I've ever been? Working with students, working with young people. And so now I'm back being a teacher. And so my advice is, while you're at Memphis, try everything and don't close yourself off to any opportunity, and follow those paths. Follow Harry Potter, follow music, follow wherever you want to go, because even if that's not the path you continue on, you meet people who are like interesting and awesome and the right person to get you to like this sphere or this sphere. And I just think you should try everything, do every internship, have lots of jobs, because you're figuring out what interests you, and you're figuring out what job environment you want to work in too. Like, you realize, okay, I do want to work for a small firm, or I want to work for FedEx and work with, 3,000 people. And you'll figure that out by doing internships. So I'm only 33 and have had like 6 jobs. So I just think you should follow, especially now in college, as you're starting college, I would say to go after every passion that you have and see which one you want to end up working in and which one you just want to keep as a passion, because there's avenues for you no matter which direction you go.
My advice would be not to compare yourself, or don't fall into a comparison game. I did that a lot through college, and specifically teaching ESL. I felt like everyone I was around was like, oh, I'm going to teach ESL, and I lived in another country for 3 years, or I speak this many languages, which is awesome. But I didn't do those things. And I was like, man, I'm not as good, or I'm not going to be as good as they're going to be. And just being in my field now, I know, well, I've never had to use another language teaching ESL, and it wasn't necessary, but I like beat myself up over things like that. And I think that's easy to do in college. If just with anything, like some people take many hours in a semester, maybe that's not something you can handle. Maybe you need to take more than 4 years to graduate. So just whatever career path you go into, don't compare yourself, don't beat yourself up. It is your journey, your college experience. You make the most of it.
Anybody else want to add best advice?
Yeah, I would just say to remember to thank your teachers. And yes, this is coming from a teacher, but it's also remembering that for those of you who want to become a teacher or who want to do really any job, there was someone that came before you to try and prepare you. And then hopefully you will be such an expert at your job that you'll need to prepare the next generation, or hey, your next door neighbor. So at the end of the day, remember, as you are walking in the shoes of a future Tiger, a future college student, that there was someone that helped you out, that taught you hey, how to write your name. So even as we're going into hopefully from virtual to in person and all that type of learning, we're remembering that, hey, those teachers are real people and they're here to help me so that I can help someone else. So just, hey, remember to give thanks. It's not even Thanksgiving, but thank you all. And so thank your teachers,
I can go as well. Basically, I don't know, like coming to University of Memphis, I was like, well, I don't know about a lot of stuff. So I was just trying to get as well as I could. And I think like my point of advice would be just like dip your toe in just a little bit and find like that one thing. And then it'll connect you to so many different people and so many things you didn't even know were at the University of Memphis. So I was in orientation. I was an orientation guide and like frosh camp counselor, and that connected me to jobs on campus. So now I'm currently working with like the admissions office as a tour guide. So I'm like, if you come to a tour on Tuesday or Thursday in the morning, I'll be giving you a tour. So I'll see you then. But yeah, so having a job as a student, like it gives me just like a different perspective because I get to see like Paige and Kyle when they're in the office. I get to mess with them. And then also just being able to see so many amazing students and see how far they're traveling to come look at the University of Memphis. And then also I feel like I learned something new every tour about specific things. So I think being a tour guide and just having a job as a student on campus makes me fall in love with Memphis, the University of Memphis every day. Cause I'm like, oh, I didn't even know the University of Memphis did that or offered that or had that here. And I feel like it just gave me a whole new perspective about campus outside of just like my majors and what I was involved in. So I think that's definitely like one, like my point of advice is just dip your toe in like one place and it'll connect you to so many different people, and like you really do get out what you put in. So put your best foot forward and really just, I don't know, the best attitude you can. And even when like times get hard, you don't know what's going to happen, things may be virtual, in person, whatever else, but I feel like that's just like how you're going to find what you really enjoy. But yeah.
Michelle, did you want to take this one or no? I saw you unmute earlier.
I was just saying that I would just echo what everybody else said, to take this time to get to know as many people as possible and network with as many people, you know, not only from different walks of life, but in different professions, and just try out your passions. You know, I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be a teacher, but I probably should have spent some more time exploring other options as well, you know. And I think college is the time to do that. And so I just think that time is well spent. And so, and I didn't answer the question about my favorite class, but I did want to give a little shout out to Dr. Candy Hill Clark. She's now the dean of the College of Education, but she was one of my favorite professors, and her children's lit class really just sparked a passion for me for children's literacy. And that's still the work that I'm doing every day. And I think, you know, next to healthcare, I don't think there's anything that we can do to make the world a better place than to make sure that all children can read and write well. And so I really credit her for inspiring me. And so anyway, those are my thoughts.
Perfect. Thank you. And yes, Dr. Candy Hill Clark is now the dean, and she is rocking it. And she is a great contact at the College of Education. And so we'll share her details or more details about the College of Education in just a second. But I saw a really good question that I feel like, even though I really wanted us to end on that one, because I felt like that was a strong one, this is actually probably the most relevant to why a lot of the people are here tonight. So a question is, what are some things that you need to do in order to become a teacher? So maybe a few of you could talk a little bit about the training process and some of the things that you did to become a teacher. Go for it, Dante.
First, if you have the passion to teach, you have to get admitted into the teacher education program. So that is having, I believe, a 21 or higher on the ACT. If you don't have a ACT score of 21, then you take there is a praxis test that you take, reading, math, and English, I believe it is. So you can take that test, interview, you have an interview, pass all of that, then you're into the teacher education program. Once you're into the teacher education program, you then complete your coursework, you do your residency. Now you have to take a course called the EdTPA, which is what I had to do. I did not like it because it came right before I was supposed to graduate, but anyway, you take that course and it basically you're creating lesson plans, basically showing that you know how to take data, modify instruction, give feedback, but there's a course designed to help you through that process. And once you pass the Ed TPA, you take the praxis in your content area. For me, it was the music content and instruction. And the PLT, principles of learning and techniques. So you take the PLT for whatever grade level you want to teach. I wanted to be a high school teacher. That was in my heart, and I took 7th through 12th. You pass all your state tests, pass your content area, pass student teaching, and then that's when you are recommended for a license, and you send all those test scores to the state, and you'll have your teaching license. So if I missed anything, you all please chime in, but that's what I can remember.
Yeah, Maddie. Oh, sorry.
I just want to speak as someone who did not go through the education department, since I majored in English, but I went in undecided. And originally I just wanted to teach English at the high school level. So that's why I chose English as my major, and then eventually concentrated in ESL. So just want to say, I guess, I don't know if that's an alternative route, but I did not specifically go through the education department. The praxis at TPA, all that holds true. But that was a big decision for me to then do a master's program right after my undergrad, because I felt like I didn't have a bunch of experience in the classroom. I did not learn about theories of learning and how people learn. And so I felt there was a huge gap for me from other people who went through the education department. So there are different ways you can take to become a teacher.
Also, I just want to add, if you don't have a 21 on the ACT, I did not have one. We're not going to talk about my ACT score, but when you take the Praxis Core exam, I think once you take it the first time, as long as you pass 2 out of the 3 and come within 5 points of passing the third test, you can still be admitted into the teacher education program. And that was I'm not ashamed to say it, I just could not get that math score where it needed to be, but I did pass my reading and my English test. So there are ways that you can still get into the program.
Do we miss anything? I'm looking around. Yeah, definitely great points. I think for those of y'all that are in high school or maybe transfer students and you're looking at being an educator, and there's a lot of different routes, I would definitely recommend talking to an advisor when you come for orientation. Or Keith Hembry is the College of Ed recruitment contact. He can talk a little bit about what it would look like to go through that route, and then you can kind of make your own decision. We want you to come here, we want you to be supported, and we want to get you to that next step, whatever it looks like. So Maddie's route or Dante's route or Ash's or Gabby's or Michelle's, they've had all these rich experiences, and just know there's a lot of ways to get there, which can sometimes be overwhelming. It's like, wait a minute, so I have to choose? I thought I just got to go to college and then I ended up with a job, right? So life is just full of so many choices that we want you to give you multiple paths. And for those of y'all who are here for other things besides education, the same rings true. If you want to go to medical school, you can major in English if you want. There's just so many paths to get there. And that's some of the stuff they sometimes don't tell you until you get to college. So find your people, talk to them, figure it out, and don't be afraid to ask questions. So those of y'all who are sending us questions in the chat and sending things in the Q&A, thank you for being brave enough to speak up and ask your question. We know that sometimes it's scary when you don't know how many people are here and you don't know who's getting to see what you're sending. So I would love to talk to this panel for the rest of the night, but I want to be mindful of their time and yours. And so thank y'all so much for all that you shared. And thank you for just being here and being great advocates for the University of Memphis. We appreciate you sharing your experiences and being so committed to your alma mater, even after graduation. And so it has been great. And hopefully those of y'all who are here have enjoyed hearing from them. We will post this video on our YouTube channel at some point. I won't promise that it's tonight because my computer is slow, and so maybe we'll do that tomorrow. And so take a look on YouTube and search University of Memphis admissions, and we'll have some different things there, and connect with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Kyle to close us out. But again, please drop some things in the chat. We'll be sharing some contact info if you want to reach out to our office beyond this. So Kyle.
All right, thank you, Paige. And thank you again to our panelists for joining us tonight. I know that y'all have busy lives, and so we appreciate you taking the time out to share with some of our future Tigers what your experience was at the university. On the screen now, you'll see contact information for both the College of Education and the College of Communication and Fine Arts. Like Paige said, please reach out to these folks, Keith Hembry in the College of Education and Lori Snyder in the College of Communication and Fine Arts. They're both here tonight, and they'll be happy to assist you with whatever questions you may have about specific programs in their colleges. A couple of things about what's next on your college search agenda. If you're a senior or a transfer student who's planning to attend this upcoming fall and you've not applied to the university yet, be sure that you do that. The admissions application is open at this point, and we would love to get that information in so that we can get you a decision sooner rather than later. And then, of course, if you've been admitted and have not filled out your scholarship information, be sure to do that as well so that you can get your award soon and know what your financial plan looks like for college. For those of you who had questions about the FAFSA, I know we got some in the Q&A portion. If you've not completed the FAFSA, you can go ahead and do that now. The website is listed there, fafsa.ed.gov. Go ahead and fill that out because that will give you a pretty clear picture of what your finances are coming into the university. And then also, once you complete that, we'll be able to send out your financial aid awards if you've not received that yet. The next thing on the list is to apply for housing. If you're planning to live on campus at the university, the housing portal opens on February the 18th. And so just a couple of days away. Go ahead and fill out that application. I believe there's a $45 non-refundable fee that's associated with it, but fill out that application so that you can get your dorm assignment and choose the best dorm that will work for you. Certainly, we also want you to visit campus. You know, this has not been a normal year, and so your college search is probably looking quite different. And so know that our campus is open. Paige mentioned earlier some of the protocols that we have in place for campus visits, but we would love to have you on campus. If you come on Tuesdays or Thursdays, you may see Sage there. If you come another day, you'll see another one of our awesome students as well. But we will welcome you anytime throughout the week. And then finally, new student orientation. For those of you who are seniors or transfer students planning to enroll this upcoming fall, registration for new student orientation opens in early March. And we'll send correspondence both via email and regular mail with information on how to sign up for orientation. But at this time, we're planning to have it on campus this summer in person. And so we'll be sending out more information about that so that you can go ahead and sign up for the session that works best for you. Again, thank you all for joining us. I wish that this was in person so that you can engage with our alums. But thank you for joining us. If y'all have questions of us or any of the alums who spoke tonight, please feel free to reach out and we'll be glad to assist you and connect you with those representatives who are here this evening. Thanks again.